Hello, Assalamualaikum everyone. With me, Miss Tambelina, and you are watching Literature 911. Okay, last week we already discussed about Western literature, and I hope you guys gained some insight from our discussion last week. Among the famous literature that I have mentioned last week are Don Quixote and the Tales of the Two Cities, isn't it? Since I have received a lot of requests from our viewers about the ancient literatures, so today I have chosen one of the stories from the interpreters of melodies by Jumpa Lahiri, which is Where Mr Pirzada Came to Dine. It is an interesting story since we look at the narrative's reliability and consistency. In this story, it talks about a girl aged 10 years old named Lilia, who is the main character as well as the narrators for the whole story. So, for this story, we look at the first person point of view kind of literature. First, let me tell you about Mr Pirzada. Who is Mr Pirzada? He is from Dhaka, which located in Bangladesh, a part of Pakistan where a civil war was happening. The eastern frontier, where Dhaka was located, was fighting for autonomy from the ruling regime in the west. In March, Dhaka had been invaded, torched, shelled by the Pakistani army. By the end of summer, 300,000 people were dead. In 1971, he came to England to study about the foliage of New England. In Dhaka, Mr Pirzada had a 3-story home, a wife of 20 years, and 7 daughters between the ages of 6 and 16, whose names all begin with the letter A. Each week, Mr Pirzada wrote letters to his wife and sent comic books to each of his 7 daughters. However, the postal system, along with most everything else in Dhaka, had collapsed, and he had not heard a word in over 6 months. Lilia had no memory of Mr Pirzada's first visit to her house, but by the end of September, she had grown so accustomed to his presence. Lilia's father told her that Mr Pirzada was no longer an Indian. Lilia was puzzled by her father's statement, as she thought that Mr Pirzada and her parents spoke on the same language, laughed at the same joke, and looked more or less the same. Her father explained to her that Mr Pirzada is a Muslim Bengali living in East Pakistan, which is no longer a part of India. Her father showed her a map of the current division of regions between India and Pakistan. However, she couldn't comprehend the situation, as in school she only learned about American history and nothing about her own country. As usual, Mr Pirzada came to her house at 6 o'clock. Though they were no longer strangers, upon first greeting each other, Mr Pirzada and Lilia's father maintained a habit of shaking hands. Each night, as they sat for dinner, Mr Pirzada would give her a candy and she would keep each one of them in a small box beside her bed. After the news of war break out, Lila's family and Mr. Pirzada no longer ate at the dining table because it did not provide a clear view of the television set. Lilas noticed that before eating, Mr. Pirzada always did a curious thing. As she observed, he took out a plain silver watch without a band, held it briefly, and moved it with 3 swift flicks of his thumb and forefinger. He explained to her that the pocket watch was set to a local time in Dhaka, 11 hours ahead. At 6:30, the family will focus on the national news that shows war situation that happened in Pakistan. Leila is concerned about Mr. Pirzada, who had an immovable expression on his face. One night, when Lilias looks at the candy box beside her bed, she thinks about Mr. Pirzada and his lost family in Dhaka. Eventually, she took a square of white chocolate out of the box and ate it. As she chewed the chocolate slowly in her mouth, she prayed that Mr. Pirzada's family was safe and sound. She also couldn't brush her teeth as she afraid that the prayer would rinse out as well. One day in October, Mr. Pirzada helps to carve pumpkin for a Halloween decoration with Lilia's family. He had nearly finished carving. However, when the national news began, his mind is on the brewing war in Dhaka. Since the news distracts him, it causes him to cut the pumpkin wrong. Mr. Pirzada is a little anxious about Lila going out trick-or-treating with a friend without any parental supervision. He is worried because he doesn't know where his own daughters are. In January, Mr. Pirzada flew back to his home in Dhaka to discover what was left of it, while Lila's family went to Philadelphia for Christmas. Just as Lila had no memory of Mr. Pirzada's first visit, she also didn't have the memory of his last. It's not until months later, Lila's family hears from Mr. Pirzada he had found his family and they were all safe in the mountain of Shillong. When she knows that Mr. Pirzada is safe with his family, she no longer feels the need to eat the candy and pray for their safety. Eventually, she threw them away. And that will be all for the summary of the story. What do you think about the story? Do give me your feedback on the comment section below. And don't forget, click the subscribe button if you want to see more on Literature 911. I'm your Miss Lina. Till we meet again, thank you.